Now, a controversial far-right festival set for a Leitrim community centre will no longer take place at the venue following an open letter signed by hundreds of Irish artists, including Kneecap and Christy Moore. Is there a double standard, however, when it comes to political views? For more on this, we're joined by Mary Kenny, author, journalist and Irish Independent columnist. Mary, do you think it is double standard for artists to call for this particular event to be postponed or cancelled?
Well, certainly British commentator Hugo Timms he has described Kneecap's attitude as nauseating hypocrisy, because their stand was all about free speech and how they should be free to advance the Palestinian cause. But now Kneecap, along with the 600 others, are actually calling for the cancellation of an event, and that certainly does sound like nauseating and double standards, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, look, it is an interesting one. I mean, I suppose, do people have a right to object to an event taking place at which they feel, pretty unpleasant, or I don't know what's going to take place or what would have taken place at this event, if they feel there may be unpleasant views or unpalatable views expressed? Do they have a right to object to that?
Well, surely, Shane, the first thing is you listen to the views first, then you argue against them. If you think something is really bad or disgusting or repellent, then you say so. But objecting to something is not the same as cancelling things and censoring things. And the liberal view is that you listen to what somebody has to say. You look at the evidence and you argue the point. You don't just go around cancelling everything, that seems to me to be very illiberal.
Is there an intolerance on the left for opposing views?
Well, I would hope not, because the left have embraced some very, very good causes in the past. But I think that, part of the left's tradition has been that you do go in for debate and that you are robust in debate. You don't just say everything should be censored or closed down. But I think that perhaps, there has been a movement much more towards censoring things and cancelling things. And that, in some ways, that's more dangerous, because if ideas are not expressed, then they often become more extreme if they're not openly discussed. If you just try to censor everything, you don't really get a liberal society.
A text has just come in from a listener that the event was going to be called Mise Éire, which, of course, named after the famous film of that name. Appropriation of Irish culture for far-right views. Had to cancel it. That is a viewpoint that is out there, that this is unpleasant and unpalatable and that it shouldn't go ahead.
Well, what is the evidence that it's far right? I mean, is Irish culture, tradition, and the Irish society and history in the past, is that all to be now classified as far right? Is that what people are now saying? Is anything that isn't globalist or anything that isn't international not allowed to be expressed?
I don't think so. The argument, I suppose, and I'm just putting it playing devil's advocate here, but the argument is that it was, that the event was organised by an anti-immigration activist, and I suppose there was a presumption that there would be anti-immigration views expressed at it.
But actually, Shane, people are allowed to be opposed to immigration if they want to. It's a free country. Surely that's something that is allowed to be debated. I mean, Nigel Farage in Britain, he's anti-immigration, and he is now top of the electoral polls because he is allowed to express his freedom of speech. Are you going to go around censoring everybody who doesn't conform to your point of view? That's the point I'm making.
There's a word that has emerged over the last decade or so, Mary. I don't know if you've noticed it, but we've been accused. If we interview somebody here, we get accused of platforming. that person. I have to say, as a journalist, I completely object to it, because I do think you should actually listen to what people have to say, even if you disagree with them. But is there a growing trend, do you think, towards intolerance of other opinions? Is that reflected in social media? Is it driven by social media?
Well, perhaps, yes, social media, Shane, has contributed to more sort of extreme positions, and also sort of positions which take away all nuance or complication. I mean, something like immigration is a complicated story. It's not just something to be subjected to generalizations. I mean, you've got economists like David McWilliams, who's very, very respected and, writes for the contributes to the Financial Times as well as the Irish Times. I mean, he's saying things like immigration is a serious issue and it is linked to housing. Well, we have to listen to that, and maybe we object to what he's saying, and some people do, but you must, as you say quite rightly, you must listen to the arguments, you must engage with debate. That's the only proper liberal way in a free democracy.
Okay, Mary Kenny, author, journalist, Irish Independent columnist. Thank you for talking to Newstalk Breakfast this morning. Let us know what you think.